Hello everyone. In this video, we will demonstrate how to use the strategy builder from blocks to create a strategy. We will try to create a strategy from scratch, possibly using existing building blocks. From other strategies, for example, from the gallery, you can download from here and examine blocks such as how a particular strategy is implemented here. To get started and create a strategy, let's click the Add Strategy button. We don't take any template, we end up with an empty strategy. Here she is, appearing here, and here she is, appearing here. Let's rename it to something else, our best strategy. Okay, let's set up the window for work. The palette should have all possible cubes available at once. Well, in general, that's enough for everyone to see the property of each cube here. So let's start over with the possibility of adding the variable as a security, but if you plan to trade just one security, it's not necessary. We can quickly add candles, and subsequently, the values will be directly obtained from this location in the security field. Candles, 5-minute intervals, and accordingly chart panel. We will display the chart on the chart panel. Let's see right away if it will work or not. Here I have some data on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for the year 2022. Well, we can take an entire month just to see if it actually works. That's all there is to it. We are taking the BitUSD security locally. Start. Here it is. The chart has appeared, which means it's working. The value of the security was derived from a special field. Next, what should our strategy be? Let's first try to find some long-term low, some kind of minimum. To do this, we take the indicator. In the properties, we define the lowest and the period, but we can set the period right here to something like 5 minutes, for example, a period of 30. 30 times 5 is a minimum 2-hour period. Yes, quite enough to start. 2-hour period, candles drawing. Review our findings. Here it is, we find it. Here he is. Here he is, lowest. Here he is, lowest. Here they are, 30 periodic lowest points. Yes. This was the absolute minimum here. Or we can even extend this period to 50 now. We will achieve the same thing, but it will just be a little different. 50 candles. Well, yes, there are probably 50 candles here. When building a scheme, always check to ensure it calculates correctly. In other words, on the graph, we look with our eyes to check that what is being built is indeed what we need, what we want, and that there are no errors in the construction. Because there might have been a situation where this scheme doesn't work. I think we can still see this in the process of building these schemes. Yes, lowest. Let's give it a try. Check the following. Lowest gives this value, and lowest gives this value. We need to understand where is this. So what shall we try to do next? We will try to use the previous value. So we take the previous value of the minimum indicator and shift it by 1 unit. Yes, it's true. It just needs to be renamed. Previous value. And we also take one more previous value from the lowest as well. It will be shifted back by 20 values. What do we want to do in this case? We want, for example, to compare the previous lowest values with the current lowest values. They can be either equal or not. So how are we going to compare this? If our previous values are greater than the current lowest values in 50 comparisons, accordingly, the previous value, the current value, the previous value is greater. Value 1 is greater than value 1, which is our previous value. If it is greater, then it means that we have set a new low with the current value accordingly. Now, why do we need the value from 20 periods ago? 20 periods ago, we compare that the previous value, this previous value is the lowest, and this previous value from 20 periods ago should be equal, for example. Then it would mean that we set the minimum at least 20 periods ago, whether it was 20 periods ago, 19 periods ago, or 15, it doesn't matter. We set the minimum value, and it has not been breached up to this point in time. Equal. And then we talk about the fact that if we see more happening here, this equals that. This will serve as a buy signal, for example. Why not? So, where do we have the conjunction here? Not conjunction, but logical condition. The logical condition we will have is operator I, as we want to ensure that this simultaneous condition is consistently met. That is, the previous value must be greater than the current one, and the previous value must be equal to the one that was 20 translations ago. And after that, we can talk about adding the cube by here. What do we do with the order registering? Here we must definitely insert the trigger. Next, we talk about direction by, meaning market. Well, actually, that's all that needs to be said. So what do we have here? We have the value of the paper. It will be taken from the tape. The volume and capacity need to be set as a variable. We will have one variable. Numeric is not a flag, it's a numeric value. Value 1. The contract is purchased, 1 share, 1 paper for testing. Just right. What codec is needed to open a position? Position modify position, yes, this one is needed. Properties, open position for the buy direction. Market algorithms. We are talking about how this cube is just opening the position, volume, portfolio, trigger, and cancellation. But we have no cancellation conditions. Yes, here we have what? The balance, the resulting application, the own transaction. Got it. You can plug in strategy trades so that they are displayed on the chart. It is also about securities here. Next, we create a simple story. We turn on the signal, set the end values, trigger, and input. Here's the trigger for us. When we hit the end, when we entered the position, basically, we have, well, let's say we set aside for 10 positions. 10 positions. 10 positions will discuss that we are simply going through 10 positions from the strategy. This modifies the cube position again. Properties that we have: condition, close position, sell direction, market orders, everything. Trigger here. Nothing more is needed, that's all. Let's see if we manage to get anything or not. There are no deals in January. One deal hereby. Order transaction buy 46,860.16 from January 2. Well, by the way, yes, look at the new hole. All 20 periods have now completely turned to a buy signal. No exit. Let's take a look at the 3Ws pattern. 5 values are also used here. Ah, yes, exactly. You need to add candles here for the counter to work. Here from, include in the input. What do we consider 10 values? Here the trigger activates 10 candle values. We are closing everything now, trying it out. Oh, now the deals are going by sell, buy, sell. Here it triggers for some reason. And then here we see longer periods of activation. So we have P&D negative. For the period of January 2022, let's say we extend the period to the entire year of 2022 and see what negative result we will have. Yes, because a negative result is also a result. Here it is negative? No, it's going into the positive. Going into the red. Overall, even a good minus. But that's fine. Let's turn the conditions around now and it will be okay if we're talking about such schemes. It seems we have an entry deal and an exit deal here. It may be necessary to make the exit larger or later. Because here, for example, we went in but came out very quickly. If you sit here longer, then it will be, accordingly, a plus. It can be done this way. And here too, and here too. Let's work together to thoughtfully modify our current strategy. Let's add the value of Haggist here. We take the indicator again that determines the highest properties type. We'll also take the highest period of 50. And it will have some significance at the moment we open the deal. We need to remember this somehow. How is this remembered? We should remember using variables. Let's take variable, for example. Its trigger will be this one. No, it turns out that the meaning appears here. We take the value from the highest and the trigger only when we have true. And this value is assigned to the variable. Here. Second. Rename the value highest on trade. Let's try to visualize it and see what we will get on the graph in this case. Nothing will resolve, nothing is clear. Although, strangely enough, the lowest is drawn as A, the variable is not drawn, right? Let's make a stop. We will make a stop and see what values come here, and if they do. No. Once it is started, no meanings come here. It doesn't hit at all. Stop. Returning to January 2022. Here. Shall we choose something here? Strangely enough, no. Although it doesn't go. Oh, well, it stopped. No, there is meaning. 479. Yes, I understand that a trigger is needed. A trigger from the candle to ensure this value is constantly sent to the panel. Well, let's see without this now. Now it's gone up to 47,990. It will convey only one meaning, because from here it will constantly change, because the highest changes and that's it. And here it changes. You only need to remember the value that was the highest 50 at the time of the transaction. I think we did it here just now. Let's give it a try. Yes, here they are, the lines exist, and it intersects with this moment of the deal, the highest one, something like that. Everything, and he's alive. Wonderful, wonderful. Then let's create and try out a story like that. No. 10 values. Yes, but now it's not 10 values. If our highest on the candle turns out to be above this highest at the time of the deal. This will be our take. What to do with the stop? I don't know when to leave yet. For now, let's keep going and see what happens. For this converter, we take the converter and extract the value from here. and we compare the comparison. The value of the highest on trade should be less than the high price. That is like this. When value 1 is less than value 2. That is when the maximum price exceeded the highest on trade. There it is. There it is. The third step to close the position. So we'll remove this from here then. Here we have a trigger for closing the position. Let's take a look at what we have scheduled for January 31st. Will we have any deals? Must be. So, here we certainly lost a large sum, but on the plus side, plus, 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 plus. It's small here. Yes, it doesn't remember. Well, it doesn't matter, it doesn't remember. Well, you see, our deal is already showing a small profit. Our strategy is working. What else can be done here? We can try testing it until December 2022 to see what happens. To begin, yes, it has been tested. The schedule, the process is still ongoing, P&L. The season is already positive because maintaining our position allows us to pull in some money. Already negative. Where do we gain and where do we fall short? We make money on some sideways movements and rebounds, but we lose on drops and significant declines. Let's assume we can open the statistics. Maximum profit is 16,000. Total drawdown is 19,000. Recovery factor is minus 11 with 42 orders. It's not very clear what and how. Look, can you explain how we can implement the stop? We have 10 positions, which is not much, but how can we proceed, for example? We can add here to close the position. We can add a logical condition that will have the value of or. The value or 10 values of the purchase date, or at least this take. We're sending it here to close. But here, for example, what exactly are we doing right now? We are launching the optimization and observing how it works. Designer optimizes processes. You can use this button, for example, to say the year 2022 or to indicate that we will make an optimization. For the first quarter of 2022, optimization. What optimization do we have? Here we have a bunch of parameters that we used. Brute force, time frame, period, changes, delay length. What are we doing? We are not optimizing anything here to begin with. Let's optimize again. We remove this change, we remove it. One remains. What is this? Top 50. Yes, let him stay too. Delay length. Let's start with 10 to 150. We might be sitting at step 1 with 150 candles, but we can actually make it step 2 because there are plus or minus candles, and there won't be any difference at all. we will have minimal optimization. Start in the period of January 2022, quarter March 2022, paper Bitcoin, shall we? It seems that security can only be removed if we have selected something here. Maximum relative. Maximum profit. We are currently optimizing. I think the optimization will be around 70. Where is our profit? All right, let's wait a little longer. Iteration 29 of 71 has already been completed. Now we will finish the iterations and see which values yield the highest result. Everything is ready. Let's see if we have maximum profit for net profit. Here he is. It's not sorted like that. Here it is 17,000 if we have a delay length of 138. Well, by the way, take a look here. What do we have? We have a net profit, which is approximately decreasing in the range of 134 or 148. The hits are like this, still around 140 or 30. Let's say we set a delay length of 140 and 140 candles. Testing. We improved all aspects there. A plus is drawn, transactions, a chart with transactions, a chart with transactions. Interesting. Well, now until the end of 2022, it might be a minus again. Well, it doesn't matter. February only. In a 5-minute time frame, these trades are very brief. Testing is complete. As you can see, we now have a positive result at the end of the year, whereas at the very beginning of this strategy, everything was negative. Overall, here is a strategy that can be used. She is effectively working at a double low. The meaning was originally there, so here it is. In other words, this is how we build strategies around the designer. At the same time, there is an optimization here that allows you to optimize the necessary parameters. To optimize, you can also use the value of lowest and such changes. In particular, this shift 20 and lowest 50. It can vary widely and yield certain results. You can also try sending this strategy for testing in the cloud. Let's try to do this. Use cloud, only Bitcoin, only already, let's say the year 2023, because I don't have data for 2022. But in the cloud, there is data for 2023. All set, the strategy has been sent for testing on the server. Waiting. All done. Here's the designer. Also, a positive P&L value of 45.25 for some reason for May 2023. I don't know where everything else has gone. Well, that's not the point. Positive value, March, April, May, and what did I set for testing? Well, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it happens. Accordingly, you too, please, have a positive outcome of 4,500 earned with this strategy. If you trade one Bitcoin using this scheme, there are certainly dips there as well, but you have to understand they are everywhere. That's all for now. Thank you for your attention.